Drake Music Research and Development presents New Assistive Music Technology Leap Motion Accessibility Assessment. Gowan Hewitt and John Kelly test the new Leap Motion controller and associated music software, AirHarp, Finger Taps Piano, and Aero MIDI.
Here we go. So, as you can see from our little jam, essentially, as a musician, I'm looking for music technology that allows me to perform live. And so for that, I kind of need that kind of precision and to be able to control the parameters so that I can pull it off in a performance. So today I've been invited by Drake Music to come and take a look at this new piece of kit called Leap Motion. Which essentially I'm very excited by because it's got the potential to help me in live performance. But we're going to put it to the test. So Gowan, do you want to take us through how you set it up and what it does?
I've got it connected by this lead to a PC. It would work just as well with a Mac. And to start with, I'm going to show you this app called AirHarp, which allows me to use my hands to play a invisible harp, although I can see it on the screen. We've also got different scales, so I can change the scale here. I can also change it completely in settings so that I'm playing, well, the notes of chords. It says chords, but actually what you're doing is playing a arpeggio of those chords, so depending where my hand is.
It's pretty hard to make any sort of precision movements.
I'll be honest though, I'm finding that a little bit difficult to control.
As a musician setting up at home and sort of working on pieces, my first thought is that I want to have a fairly easy setup, and this seems to meet that bill. It's fairly simple to plug in and easy, so it was really exciting from that moment just to be able to set it up. So on the piano, I mean, this is the basic sort of bread and butter really of creating any sort of song. And again, you can sort of see it's fairly random. Try a C chord. Pretty impossible.
In this case, I'm using Reaper, which is it's Logic, Reaper, Cubase, Pro Tools, whatever, GarageBand. It's a sequencer, and I've chosen 3 instruments. And using Aero MIDI, I've managed to set up these little squares I have to kind of poke through with my finger, and then I can play a melody, have some sustaining chords, and a repeating arpeggiated bass line. And then I'm meant to be able to switch it off like this, and I'm finding that quite difficult. Not because I don't know how to do it, but just because I'm finding it difficult.
If you put it on your hand, Gowan, and we'll give it a go, and we'll just kind of try and find a range where I can trigger it. So it's going to be down a bit, and again, the first thing that it intuitively wants you to do is point your finger straight out and put it across. Well, that's no good for me. So I'm going to try and do it by just running my hand like I normally do. And we've got nothing there yet. It's a really good example for me of how I kind of see that actually it's not my body that's preventing me doing this piece of equipment or this technology. In terms of accessibility, it makes the assumption that you can take your finger and go in a very straight line straight across an imaginary line into the box to make that trigger. And there's no sort of parameter to be able to make any adjustment to that to make it accessible. Certainly from the kind of controlled situation we're in now, where we've had time to try and set it up and make it the best we could, I just wouldn't be able to use it in a gig situation without a lot of time and a lot of setting up, and I really doubt that I would be able to have the control that I would need to be comfortable to perform the way I would want to.
I think one of the very exciting things about this is that it's a motion to sound device that costs only £80, and as someone who works with Soundbeam a lot, and Soundbeam being £3,500, this potentially is a complete game changer. What we've found today, though, which has been quite surprising, has been that actually it only works with fingers, and specifically fingertips.
Yeah, and I mean, a standard bit of kit in my game is the good old pointer, which I use on the iPad, to reach the top of the screen or whatever. And again, we tried the pointer thinking it was a little bit like a finger, except longer and more conductive, maybe. And again, nothing. It's got a great idea. That kind of idea of intuitive motion, movement to operate stuff is brilliant. But because it's so locked in, it hasn't got that accessibility that it really needs to open the doors for disabled artists. Well, I went down to Quality Street. Oh, I tell you what I see.
Film made by Ivan Riches, commissioned and produced by Gowan Hewitt. National Manager, Research and Development, blog https://drakemusicresearch.wordpress.com and Twitter @DrakeMusicRD, and Ivan Riches, producer, Connect and Collaborate, London. Thank you to John Kelly, freelance artist, Twitter @RockingPaddy, and Drake Music. Funded by Arts Council England and City Bridge Trust. Copyright Drake Music 2013. Drake Music, breaking down disabling barriers to music.